This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the WANDRD X1 Crossbody Bag, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So I should start by saying that there are 3 versions of this bag. There is the small, the medium, and the large. This is the small. So this one is 1 liter. The medium is 1.3 liters, and then the large is 1.6, I believe. But double check those. They have them all on their product pages and kind of explains the differences between the different sizes as well. So the exterior material, that main exterior material we're working with is nylon here. Very durable. I think this also looks very sleek. I actually really like how this thing looks. It's not a traditional sling or crossbody bag. It's kind of like pouchy, but then it obviously has a strap, and I just dig how this thing looks overall. We got a YKK zipper going around the main compartment here. It's got an AquaGuard finish, so it's going to keep any water out, that if it's raining or snowing or something like that. This thing, I did actually take this for a walk in, I think, the rain twice, because this time of year in Michigan, you never know what kind of weather you're going to get. And it did well. Nothing on the inside got wet. Obviously, this front compartment here doesn't have a closure, so it is a little bit more prone to getting exposed to the elements, but nothing inside there got wet, at least for me in my experience. If it's a complete torrential downpour and it's raining from all sides, you might have a different experience. So on the strap here, we do have a Rugin magnetic buckle. If you haven't used these before, they do take a little bit of getting used to, and if you have some range of motion issues, it might present problems for you because it's pretty small and just isn't as simple, I don't think, as a little buckle where you just push the sides. But I do like this buckle. I think it's placed very well and is easy to use. I just thought I would mention that as someone who does have some range of motion issues. So overall, looks pretty sleek. We have these daisy chains on the side here. I think that adds to the look, kind of technical, but it doesn't get in your way if you're not using it, and then also adds structure to the sides here. So you got 5 different loops here. So you can attach things on here if you want to, or attach this to other things. Have a handle here on the top, and I really like this handle so big. I can really get my whole hand on there, which is ideal. So on the back here, there actually is a little slider pocket, and you could stow different things there, but the main thing I used it for is to stow the strap. And I've got this thing packed up pretty tight right now, so it's kind of hard to get it all the way in there, and I'm not gonna waste your time showing you that all the way. But once that's tucked in there, you can grab it like this and hold it like this, which I think is very handy. Or if you want to carry it somewhere, just grab this and go, even if you have the strap all the way out like this. But overall, very sleek looking. I like how this looks, but let's get into how it actually wears and stows gear. So when it comes to padding and aeration, this thing does not really have either. And normally I love both of those things, but on this pack, I think it doesn't really need either, and let me explain a bit why. So the back panel here, obviously very rigid and kind of a tough material. But again, as I said earlier, this isn't really a classic sling or crossbody bag. It's kind of like a pouch with a strap. So when you're wearing it, as I'll show you in just a minute, it's not really like going to be hugging you the whole time. It's going to be kind of moving around and just not, you don't really, like on a backpack, obviously, if you didn't have any padding, you would feel it. But this is, 1 liter, and the biggest one is still under 2 liters. So it's not really hugging you, and it's not really uncomfortable to hold. If you have it really tight, maybe, but that's not how I wore this thing, and I typically wear things pretty tight, so I think that's worth mentioning. Just very rigid here on the side, on the back panel, and then on the strap, no padding or anything like that either. But because it is, 1 liter, I don't think you really need that much padding. And maybe this strap, if it's a really hot day, is going to get kind of sweaty, but even if it had padding and aeration, I think it would anyways. So for me personally, I like the minimalism presented by this harness system. I think it does well, especially for the job that it's tasked with. But if you are someone who really likes having padding, aeration, and stuff like that, you will miss that on this bag. But for me personally, and how I wore it, and how I can see a lot of different people wearing it, I don't think it's a huge deal. Maybe on the larger slings, if you were able to put a bunch of gear inside of here and it got kind of heavy, it might dig in a little bit, but I didn't have any issues with that on this one. So this is how I wore it, at least tightness-wise. I know this is still tighter than a lot of people would wear, but this is what I was comfortable with. And again, found the strap and the back panel to be comfortable enough. But as you can see, like as I'm moving around, this thing, it isn't like hugging me and it isn't attached to me. So I think that's why it gets away with not having very much padding or aeration or anything like that. You can quickly, transition from wearing it on the front to wearing it on the back like this. Let me turn around. Sorry if I hit the mic there, but just very small and very easy to kind of transition between carry styles. There is a strap keeper, which keeps any excess strap out of the way, which I like. You can also, let's get this off here. A couple times when I was just kind of get up and go, just kind of wear it. I'm all tangled up, but you can get the point here just on your shoulder. Like if you need to go quickly, put it on your shoulder like this. Hopefully don't tangle the strap like I did, and you can just go. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you stow the strap behind, you can just grab it like this and go even quicker because you're just kind of, you know, walking like a little mini briefcase here. So if you found this video helpful so far, please subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. But getting into the different compartments that it has, I already kind of mentioned this one earlier. There is a kind of a quick access compartment here on the front. Typically I would put my phone here depending on how, you know, I'm packing or where I'm going. Right now I just have my wallet stowed in there, and the main reason I have that in there is just to show that it doesn't do super well with, you know, bigger things. I don't have a huge profile wallet by any means. It just kind of has a little bit of depth there, but like when you slide it in like this, it doesn't close super well. I do have the main compartment packed out pretty tight right now, so I think that does affect it, but just it really does well for phones and phone-like objects. I also had a glasses case in there for a while, and that did okay too, but it just depends on the profile of your glasses case. I think my glasses case is probably thicker than this, so I must not have had as much in the main compartment, but there is a pretty sturdy barrier between this and the interior, so I guess it just really depends how you're packing and, you know, what you're stowing inside of there. But moving into the main compartment, we have a nice zipper. It goes pretty much all the way around 3 of the 4 sides of the pack. But then when you open it up, as you can see, there are some gussets there, so you can't open it too far. It is stretchy mesh, so you can, like if you really apply some pressure, you can get into the nitty-gritty of organizing, and if something is kind of stuck in the bottom, you kind of pull it and then you can get it out. But I'll go over some of the organization now. Right here I have, I'm just gonna pull my phone out of there actually, just so it doesn't keep lighting up and distracting me. But on this side here we have a small little mesh pocket here. This is just a hard drive cable that I take with me pretty much all the time. I don't really know why I carry it. I guess you'd never know when you're gonna need to use a hard drive, and if you don't have a cable, you can't use the hard drive. Inside there as well, there's a little stitching here, and this is an AirTag holder, or I guess any tracker really would work. It is very hard to get the tag inside of there. You really have to like bend it out like this and then slide it in. One thing I think is worth noting is that a lot of people have an AirTag in their bag while they're traveling in case it gets stolen or something like that. But if someone were to steal this and they were to open it up, they're gonna notice that right away, especially if you have an AirTag in there. I don't have one in there right now. It kind of will bulge a little bit more if you do. So if someone takes your bag, they're gonna see that right away. But if you're just doing it so you know where it is, that's not really an issue. And for most people, it's not gonna be an issue. But that's just the first thing I thought of when I saw that right there, is that, you know, anyone who opens this is gonna see the AirTag. But pretty good sized pocket here. This is also a good spot to store like AirPods or things you wanna get to quickly because it is on the top. But moving over to the other side before we get into the middle, there are 2 like long and skinny pockets here. So this is where my phone was, and then on this side I just have a Nightcore power bank inside of there. So these are good for like tall and skinny items. You could also store like a passport in there, you know, field notes, whatever you want to put between these pockets. They do have a pretty good rigidity to them, so it is going to offer some protection between. Not that you necessarily need it, but like the corners on this are pretty pointy, so in theory this could do some damage if it kind of got twisted around or something like that. And it doesn't really get in your way if you're not using it. But getting into the middle, we have a nice little accordion style organization here. So this is like basically a rectangle that is broken up into 3 triangles. So in this side here, I just have my Joby tripod, a small little USB-C drive, and then my 3 charging cables that I like to just have with me in case I ever need to charge anything. So there are other things that I would typically put in a sling that I can't fit inside of here. Like I have a point and shoot camera that typically fits in my slings, and I could kind of fit it inside this larger triangle when I didn't have anything over here. It's hard for me to use this organization because it's very limiting. I typically like slings that have some organization, but the rest is up to me. This decides everything for you. So if you have some larger items that would fit in this thing, if you just saw it from the outside, the organization kind of limits you on what you're able to, where you're able to put things, or if you're able to fit inside of here at all. Like some point and shoot cameras would maybe looking from the outside fit inside of here, but because of all this organization, they're probably not going to fit. Not the end of the world. I think this is a piece of gear for a specific use, but just worth noting that sometimes you won't be able to fit things you might think you'll be able to fit inside of there. I do love this stretchy material. I think it's really well done. And just overall, the organization is very well thought out, but if it wasn't thought out for what you're trying to put inside of there, you're gonna have a bad time. So there you have it, the WANDRD X1 Crossbody Bag. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.